You've never seen such a weird cause of illness. This man was once a genius painter, but frequent exposure to artwork overly stimulated his nerves, leading to Stendhal syndrome. As a result, he could no longer hold a brush. Though he couldn't hold a pen, a true genius is never forgotten. He eventually became a uniquely gifted art critic. Any painting he endorsed would be named the most popular of the year. This man is Ryan Gold. He came to an art auction, searching for a painting that could stimulate his brain. But he noticed that the woman sitting next to him was staring at him the whole time. The woman is Damme, the chief curator at an art museum. She's highly capable, smart, and efficient, able to set up a whole exhibition overnight. But she also has a secret side. She's a hardcore fan of idol Sheree. The reason she kept staring at Ryan Gold was that he looked strikingly similar to Sheree in profile. She attended the auction planning to bid on a painting Sheree liked and gifted to him. Unfortunately, Ryan Gold was also interested in the same piece. After a round of bidding, Ryan Gold won the painting. Disappointed, Damme returned to the museum only to learn that the museum director, her husband, had been imprisoned and removed from his post. After working diligently at the museum for 5 years, Damme saw an opportunity. After work, she disguised herself and went to the airport to wait for Sheree. When Sheree finally appeared, she snapped a photo, but just then, Ryan Gold suddenly showed up. A large group of fans rushed toward Sheree. In the chaos, Ryan Gold was shoved into Damme. They both fell, and her camera hit the ground, though luckily it wasn't damaged. An argument ensued. Ryan Gold demanded she take off her mask. But Damme, who always kept her fangirling private, ran away instead. In her rush, she accidentally dropped her fan diary, which Ryan Gold picked up. Damme ran to her best friend Seonju, who is also a fan of Sheree. Seonju encouraged her to visit the presidential suite where Sheree once stayed, to experience life like her idol. When they arrived at the hotel, they found out that Ryan Gold had just booked that very room. Seonju chased him down and begged him to swap rooms, saying they had special reasons, but Ryan Gold refused. That evening, Ryan Gold saw Seonju and Damme's silhouettes looking close in the restaurant. He remembered Seonju's earlier words and mistakenly believed they were a couple. Feeling guilty, he decided to give up the room, letting them enjoy a perfect night there. While working seriously in the museum, a familiar male voice suddenly spoke behind her. Damme, startled by the familiar tone, lost her balance and fell off a ladder. That man was Ryan Gold, the museum's new director. Remembering her from before, he asked if she knew the idol Sheree. Not wanting to expose herself as a fangirl and risk her job, Damme pretended not to know him at all. As the new director, Ryan Gold called a staff meeting. When he took out his notebook, Damme saw her lost fan diary inside. She ran to tell Seonju. Seonju hugged her to comfort her, and Ryan Gold happened to witness this, further confirming his belief that the two were in a relationship. Later, Ryan Gold planned to cancel a gallery exhibition originally prepared for No Suk and replace it with a new artist. Damme opposed this, but it was no use. Ryan Gold even asked her to set up a meeting with No Suk without revealing the cancellation. Unfortunately, No Suk quickly figured it out. Back at the museum, Damme snuck into Ryan Gold's office to retrieve her fan diary. But she got caught by Ryan Gold and made up an excuse to escape. Feeling suspicious, Ryan Gold looked into it and found that a cancellation letter for No Suk's exhibit had gone missing. Furious, he found Damme, ripped off her staff badge, and fired her. With her career in shambles, Damme started working at Seonju's cafe. Coincidentally, Ryan Gold showed up to buy a drink. After returning to the museum, he was told that only Damme could successfully contact No Suk. On top of that, another call came in. The exhibit items had started to mold. In a crisis like this, no one could handle it but Damme. Damme's apprentice stepped up and told Ryan Gold that the previous museum director was the one behind both the cancellation and the missing letter. After learning the truth, Ryan Gold rushed to the cafe to apologize to Damme and begged her to return to work. But Damme refused, pointing out that he had fired her in a fit of rage. Now that the museum was in chaos, he only wanted her back for damage control. Furious, Damme remembered that Ryan Gold had previously bought a coffee-flavored beverage, so she sneakily added more coffee to it, thinking it would just keep him awake. Unexpectedly, It sent him straight to the hospital. Feeling guilty, Damme stayed by his side all night. She even had a nightmare about being arrested for murder. When Ryan Gold woke up, she sincerely apologized and agreed to return to work. Before she left, Ryan Gold asked her to go with him the next day to meet Sheree. Today was Dame's first time visiting Sheree's home. Even before Sheree woke up, Dame was already picking out her outfit and doing her makeup. After dressing up, Dame looked stunning, like a fairy, which left Ryan Gold momentarily stunned. He mistakenly thought the bouquet in her hand was for him, as he had just been discharged from the hospital, but it was actually for Sheree. Dame even criticized the red wine Ryan Gold brought, stating that Sheree only likes white wine. The two arrive at Sheree's home and see him in a bathrobe. Dame feels as though she could die happy at that moment. Suppressing her excitement, she pretends to remain calm. To avoid revealing her inner turmoil, she excuses herself to the bathroom. However, in her excitement, she accidentally turns on the shower and soaks her clothes. Ryan Gold sees this and gallantly drapes his coat over her. After leaving Sheree's house, Dame excitedly describes the visit to Seonju. The next morning, the internet is flooded with rumors of Dame dating Sheree. It turns out that the limited edition coat Ryan Gold had placed on Dame is identical to one owned by Sheree. Fans mistakenly believe Dame is Sheree's secret girlfriend. Concerned that Dame might face online harassment, Dame's colleagues suggest he post a picture with his actual partner to dispel the rumors. Ryan Gold, eavesdropping outside, overhears this and becomes nervous, fearing that Dame's relationship with Seonju will be exposed. In a panic, he bangs on the door, startling everyone. He then awkwardly tells them to stop gossiping, but his hand cramps from the force of the knock. The fans' obsession goes beyond the internet. On Dame's way to work, a group of masked people surrounds her. One person even points a toy gun at her, causing the crowd to start throwing eggs. Luckily, Dame's brother shows up in time to protect her. Ryan Gold, seeing Dame injured, advises her to go home and rest. However, Dame insists on returning to work. That evening, Ryan Gold notices Dame still working at the museum. Feeling distressed, he goes to comfort her, but Dame insists she's fine. Ryan Gold drives home but, recalling the day's events, becomes worried and turns back to check on Dame. He noticed a car coming close to Dame. He quickly drove to block her path and got out to confirm that Dame wasn't hurt. Then, he went to knock on the car window. Ryan Gold, thinking is one of the crazy fans, claims Dame is his girlfriend. Dame, standing nearby, was stunned by what she saw. But once the car window rolled down, they realized it was just an ordinary man. Ryan Gold was instantly embarrassed and didn't know what to say. He parked the car outside Seonju's cafe. Looking at the happy family of three, Seonju and her husband with their daughter, Ryan Gold felt very uneasy. He thought maybe it was out of pity for Dame. Seeing how pitiful Dame was, Ryan Gold wanted to help by pretending to be her boyfriend. But Dame didn't want to lie. She believed the situation would die down on its own with time. Unfortunately, things weren't that simple. The next morning, a crowd had already gathered at the entrance of the art museum. Ryan Gold had no choice but to persuade Dame to pretend they were a couple. He even pulled out a fan notebook he'd accidentally picked up and contacted the leader of the fan group. Just then, Dame's phone showed that Ryan Gold had followed her online. She was so shocked that she dropped her phone. Dame became extremely worried that her identity as the fan group leader would be exposed. Ryan Gold found her again and said he'd told the fan leader that the two of them were in a relationship, hoping that the leader could help clear up the misunderstanding between her and Sheree. But Dame, still afraid of exposure, flatly refused. Then they saw the news: Sheree had hit a fan with his car. Dame felt terribly guilty. She had originally hoped that the rumors would fade on their own. But the situation only kept escalating. So, she immediately went to Ryan Gold, saying she was willing to pretend to be in a relationship to end this as soon as possible. Ryan Gold contacted the fan leader. Meanwhile, Dame and Seonju received Ryan Gold's message. He told them he could help but didn't have time to meet. They just needed to send him the right photos. So, Dame brought Seonju along to take the photos. Ryan Gold had always assumed Seonju and Dame were in a relationship. But even when he and Deokmi were standing very close together, Seonju didn't seem jealous at all. Left with no choice, Ryan Gold just hugged Deokmi tightly. During the shoot, Ryan Gold asks Deokmi several questions, including whether she likes taking photos and why she is so willing to help. When Seonju casually comments on how well Deokmi performed during the shoot, Ryan Gold feels irrationally upset and walks away. Despite their efforts, rumors continue to spread. Deokmi reluctantly agrees to another couple photo shoot with Ryan Gold, this time at a park. However, Seonju suddenly has an emergency and leaves, prompting Ryan Gold and Deokmi to prepare to leave as well. Upon learning that Ryan Gold is an orphan, Deokmi decides to take him to an amusement park instead. The two have a joyful day, growing closer in the process. Later that night, Deokmi looks at the photos from the day and smiles at the memories of being close to Ryan Gold. At the same time, Ryan Gold looks at a portrait Deokmi had drawn of him and unconsciously mimics the expression in the drawing. Both begin to develop feelings for each other without realizing it. The next day at work, Deokmi learns that the photos they took have successfully cleared up the rumors. Thinking the scandal has been resolved, Deokmi is shocked to see Shure, obsessive fan, show up at the art gallery as a new intern. Despite being introduced as an intern, Deokmi immediately realizes the fan is there to verify the authenticity of the relationship photos. Acting quickly, Deokmi publicly declares that she and Ryan Gold are dating. When Ryan Gold arrives, Deokmi theatrically throws herself into his arms. Afterward, Deokmi explains the situation to Ryan Gold. She tells him that as long as the intern is around, they will have to keep pretending to be a couple. She suggests firing the intern, but Ryan Gold reveals that the intern, Cindy, is the former director's daughter, making it impossible to dismiss her easily. Meanwhile, Deokmi's foster brother, Eunji, shows up. Although they are not related by blood, Eunji has harbored feelings for Deokmi but has never confessed. He intends to reveal his concerns about her pretending to be in a relationship with Ryan Gold. However, Deokmi is annoyed and scolds him before he leaves, only to run into Ryan Gold. Ryan Gold suggests they go together to Eunji's taekwondo studio. Both skilled practitioners, they spar fiercely, neither holding back. Seonju then arrives with her son to practice martial arts and teases the two for their competitive match. During this encounter, Ryan Gold suddenly realizes that Seonju and Deokmi might not actually be in a romantic relationship, casting doubt on his previous assumptions. Ryan Gold finally realizes that he had misunderstood all along. Deokmi and Seonju are not a couple. Upon learning the truth, Ryan Gold feels an inexplicable sense of relief. However, the situation with the obsessive fan intern Cindy remains tense. Despite the fact that Shure is already in a relationship and married, Cindy still joined the gallery as an intern to confirm whether Deokmi and Ryan Gold were truly dating. To dispel her doubts and avoid creating rumors about Shure, Deokmi continues pretending to be Ryan Gold's girlfriend. In a twist, Ryan Gold discovers that Deokmi is actually Shure's top fan leader and even created a dedicated website documenting every detail of Shure's daily life. Despite this surprising revelation, the two continue working together. One day, they set out on a trip to locate a famous photographer, which is said to be in the possession of a reclusive writer living in the mountains. On their way, it starts raining heavily, and their car gets stuck in the mud. They have no choice but to hike up the mountain in the rain. By the time they reach the writer's house, they are drenched. The writer reluctantly agrees to let them stay overnight. When they express their desire to exhibit his wife's photography, the writer initially refuses. That night, Deokmi and Ryan Gold discuss the woman's photography, noting that although she primarily captured landscapes, her final photograph was a rare self-portrait titled, "Goodbye." Deokmi speculates that the photo wasn't meant to bid farewell to the world but to the person he loved, who must have been standing beside the camera. Her heartfelt interpretation moves both Ryan Gold and the writer, who overhears their conversation. The next morning, Deokmi wakes up to find Ryan Gold sleeping close to her. Embarrassed, she pretends to be asleep until Ryan Gold wakes up and awkwardly distances himself. After saying their goodbyes to the writer, they are surprised when he changes his mind and agrees to let them exhibit his wife's work. When they open the doors to the collection, They are stunned to see the room filled with photographs the writer-wife's had secretly taken of the writer over 30 years, revealing her deep love. The writer, regretful that he only realized the depth of his wife's feelings after her passing, decides to honor her by showcasing her work in the exhibition. Inspired by this poignant story, Damme and Ryan Gold's bond grows even stronger. Ryan Gold decides to fully commit to the act of pretending to be Damme's boyfriend. One evening after work, the art gallery team goes out for dinner. During the meal, Cindy challenges Damme and Ryan Gold to play a couple's compatibility test. Ryan Gold fumbles through the answers and ends up being relentlessly teased by the group. Damme has to escort the tipsy Ryan Gold home. As Ryan Gold sleeps soundly, Damme finds herself growing more fond of him. Late at night, Ryan Gold wakes up and notices a note Damme left behind, prompting him to reflect on his feelings. Curious, he logs onto the fan website Damme had created for Sheree but finds that access requires answering obscure trivia questions. Determined, Ryan Gold spends the entire night watching Sheree's videos to find the answers. However, the final question about a specific mole on Sheree's face leaves him stumped. The next morning, exhausted but determined, Ryan Gold encounters Sheree in the elevator. Feeling awkward but desperate, he steals glances at Sheree's face, hoping to spot the mole. Sheree, sensing Ryan Gold's interest, awkwardly invites him to his place to look at some paintings. There, Ryan Gold discovers that Sheree has collected 3 paintings by the artist Young, whose work had previously reignited Ryan Gold's passion for art. Sheree mentions that the series consists of 9 paintings. He owns 3, Ryan Gold has 2, and the remaining 4 are still missing. Seeing the paintings reignites Ryan Gold's desire to paint, but when he tries to put brush to canvas, his self-doubt paralyzes him once again. Later, during lunch with colleagues, Damme notices Ryan Gold's absence. Cindy seizes the opportunity to question whether they had broken up. Damme, masking her unease, insists they are still together and even buys food to bring to Ryan Gold. However, just as she is about to give it to him, a woman rushes in and hugs Ryan Gold tightly. Everyone is stunned by the affectionate display. The woman is revealed to be Damme, Ryan Gold's close friend who had just returned from the US. Later, a call from building management informs Damme and her colleagues that there is a water leak in Ryan Gold's apartment. Damme volunteers to check it out, aware of Cindy's suspicious gaze. Upon entering the apartment, she finds no sign of a leak. After the building staff leaves, Damme is captivated by Ryan Gold's elegant interior design and the art pieces scattered throughout the space. One particular painting catches her attention. She steps closer to admire the brushwork when Ryan Gold suddenly appears and ushers her out, embarrassed. Ryan Gold's harsh tone shocks Damme, and she leaves disheartened. As soon as she walks away, Ryan Gold regrets his outburst and rushes to chase after her. Meanwhile, Damme seeks solace with Seonju and Eunji, who take her to a bar to help her unwind. Back at the art gallery, Ryan Gold grows increasingly worried when Damme doesn't show up or upload her usual fan photos of their idol. Damme, now struggling with her growing feelings for Ryan Gold, finds herself unable to focus on her fan activities. Frustrated and distracted, she impulsively starts painting a chair in her living room with bright colors. Ryan Gold, unable to bear the uncertainty, decides to search for Damme at her home. Surprised by his sudden appearance, Damme panics and accidentally brushes paint onto Ryan Gold's hand. He asks to wash up, but Damme, terrified that he'll see her room full of Sheree memorabilia, desperately tries to stop him. Ryan Gold raises an eyebrow, suspicious. Out of options, Damme blindfolds him with an eye mask and awkwardly guides him to the sink. She carefully wipes the paint from his hand, but Ryan Gold notices the distinct smell of watercolor in the air. Curious, he tries to remove the blindfold. Damme panics and accidentally smears paint onto Ryan Gold's shirt. In the chaos, Damme loses her composure and impulsively kisses him. Time seems to stand still as their lips meet. Suddenly, the scene cuts. Damme snaps back to reality. After snapping back to reality, Damme hurriedly pushes Ryan Gold out of her home. Damme is just about to confess her feelings but freezes when she notices the blindfold still in Ryan Gold's hand. Panicking at the thought of being exposed, She snatches it away and hastily urges him to leave. Ryan Gold, though seemingly calm on the surface, his heart races as he recalls the brief, chaotic encounter. The next day, Damme confides in Eunji, admitting that she's fallen for Ryan Gold. Eunji advises her to hold off on any action until she's sure about Ryan Gold's feelings. Later that day, Ryan Gold asks Damme to dress nicely for an event. Damme, excited, assumes it's a date. However, upon arriving at the venue, she discovers it's a meeting with Sheree. It turns out Sheree's art director quit unexpectedly, and they urgently need a replacement. Ryan Gold promises to help find a solution. The next morning, Ryan Gold and Damme visit Damme. However, ever since Damme found out about Ryan Gold and Daakme's fake relationship, she has been cold toward them. She flatly refuses the job. Determined, Ryan Gold and Damme stay behind to help Damme renovate her studio. Watching the two joke and laugh together, Damme feels a pang of jealousy. Things take a turn when Damme, determined to break them apart, lies to Damme, claiming that Ryan Gold wants to end their relationship. Heartbroken, Damme confronts Ryan Gold and ends things before he can even explain or confess his love. Ryan Gold is left speechless, holding the flowers he'd bought for his confession. Seon-ju, learning about the misunderstanding, becomes hostile toward Ryan Gold. At the cafe, she tells him everything is sold out, regardless of his order. Ryan Gold is utterly confused by everyone's sudden coldness. Damme takes advantage of the situation and invites Ryan Gold to dinner. Unfortunately, this scene is witnessed by their colleagues, who assume Ryan Gold has cheated on Damme. The rumor spreads, and Daakme's melancholic demeanor only fuels the gossip. Determined to clear up the misunderstanding, Ryan Gold confronts Damme. "What's going on? Why are you avoiding me?" he asks urgently. Damme brushes him off, citing work as an excuse. Ryan Gold, frustrated, insists she accompany him to a meeting with Sheree. Little does he know, Daakme's heart is in turmoil. After discovering that Ryan Gold and Daakme's relationship was just an act, Damme happily agrees to become Sheree's art director. As they discuss the upcoming exhibition design, Damme begins to feel out of place. Watching Ryan Gold and Damme in sync only fuels her insecurities. Feeling unable to fit into their world, she seizes the opportunity to leave when she hears that supplies for the project have arrived at the store and volunteers to go sign for them. Once Damme leaves, Ryan Gold grows concerned and asks Cindy about her whereabouts. Upon learning that Damme went to the store, Ryan Gold immediately follows her. At the store, Damme is lost in memories of her moments with Ryan Gold, and tears begin to fall uncontrollably. Just as she's overwhelmed with sadness, the door opens and Ryan Gold walks in. The sight of Ryan Gold triggers Daakme's pent-up emotions, causing her to break down. Damme struggles to form words but finally admits, "I can't stop thinking about us, and I hate that it hurts so much." Ryan Gold, moved by Daakme's honesty, responds tenderly, "I don't hate it. In fact, I love those moments." Their mutual feelings come to light, and they officially transition from a fake couple to a real one. In the days that follow, Ryan Gold becomes completely smitten. Even a few hours without contact make him restless. Unable to sleep after failing to reach Damme by phone, he rushes to find her at dawn. When he arrives, he is surprised to see Damme dressed in full fan gear. Flustered, Damme panics and hides behind a stand, hoping Ryan Gold won't notice her idol-obsessed side. But Ryan spots her and confronts her. Damme, embarrassed, admits reluctantly. To her surprise, Ryan doesn't seem bothered. "Why would I mind? I actually love seeing how passionate you are when you're talking about your idols," he says with a warm smile. Damme looks at him in disbelief. "Actually, I've been chatting with you under the name online for a while now," Damme exclaims in shock. They burst into laughter, playfully shoving each other until they collapse on the couch. Damme excitedly starts sharing stories about her fangirl adventures, and Ryan listens attentively, genuinely enjoying every word. As their laughter fills the room, their relationship blossoms even further. Damme learns that Ryan was once a genius painter. However, a painful memory from childhood, being seemingly abandoned by his mother, left him unable to pick up a paintbrush ever since. He's been searching for a specific painting by an artist, hoping it will help him reconcile with his past. Damme accidentally discovers that Sharea's mother is actually Ryan's mother too. Damme arranges a meeting with her. When Eun-young meets Ryan, she reveals the truth. She never intended to abandon him. Back then, their family was struggling financially. Upon hearing that someone wanted to buy one of her paintings, she hurriedly took her son with her and asked him to wait nearby while she completed the sale. Tragically, she was involved in a car accident on the way, and when she regained consciousness, she couldn't find Ryan anymore. For years, Ryan lived with the belief that his mother had abandoned him. Now, hearing the truth, the long-standing misunderstanding dissolves, and mother and son share an emotional reunion. Damme, overjoyed for Ryan, decides to encourage him to start painting again. She ties up her hair and offers herself as a model for Ryan to sketch. As Ryan looks at her shadow on the paper, he hesitates but eventually picks up the brush. The moment becomes a turning point for him, reigniting his passion for art. Later, Damme invites Ryan to her home. While she is busy cleaning up, expecting his arrival, her mother unexpectedly shows up instead. To Dame's horror, her room is filled with idol merchandise and fan collectibles. Her mother becomes furious, finally realizing that Damme had rented this place purely to pursue her obsession with her idols. Grabbing a cushion, her mother starts scolding and whacking Damme. At that moment, Ryan arrives with a gift. Hearing Dame's cries, he rushes inside and, without hesitation, shields her from her mother's blows by hugging her tightly. Dame's mother, startled by Ryan's sudden appearance, stops the commotion. Trying to cover up the situation, Dame's mother anxiously claims, "Oh, all this idol stuff? It's not Dame's, it's actually mine. You see, I didn't want her father to find out I'm into this sort of thing." Ryan, catching on, plays along with a warm smile. Damme proudly reveals that Ryan has known all along about her fandom. Rather than being repulsed, he actually supports it, which leaves her mother shocked but deeply impressed. She's overjoyed that her daughter has found such a wonderful, understanding man, something she never expected. With Dame's encouragement, Ryan Gold finally overcomes his psychological barriers and starts painting again, and he soon regains his status as a genius artist. As their relationship strengthens, Ryan decides to make a life-changing commitment. He proposes to Damme saying, "I want to marry you." Their love reaches new heights as they embark on a shared future. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and drop a heart to help our channel out.